theater goblins. Is it okay if I call you all theater goblins? I feel like that's the sort of demographic this video is going to reach, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. We aim to be respectful around these parts. On Tuesday night, Jake and I got to attend the national touring production of Hadestown at the Fisher Theater in Detroit. I'd heard snippets of the musical before, but never the entire soundtrack, so I got to experience it with fresh ears, and I walked away pleasantly surprised at the complexity of the show's storytelling. If this is the first video you've seen on a show that won 8 Tony Awards in 2019 and Best New Musical Theater Album at the 2020 Grammy Awards, you're in the same boat as I was last night, so you're in good company. To briefly explain what the show's about, first you need to understand this is the retelling of multiple Greek myths with 2 major couples that are important to the plot. If you already know this, skip ahead to this timestamp. First, we have Hades and Persephone. Hades is the god of the underworld and riches, and Persephone, the goddess of the dead, grain, and spring. In the original Greek myth, Hades abducts Persephone. Eventually, her release is negotiated for, but not before she's tricked into eating pomegranate seeds. Because she consumed food from the underground, she became forever bound to it, able to leave only for brief periods of time, giving mortals the seasons. The second couple in the musical are Eurydice and Orpheus. Orpheus is the son of a muse and a mortal king who became a legendary musician, poet, and prophet. Orpheus's music is so powerful it could charm any creature, coax the flora and rocks beneath his feet to dance, and divert rivers from their natural course. After Orpheus's wife, Eurydice, is bitten by a viper and dies, a distraught Orpheus sings and plays his music so mournfully that the nymphs and deities hear his song and weep, telling him how to travel to the underworld to rescue his love. In his hubris, Orpheus believes that the power of his music is stronger than that of the will of the gods, the god of death, possibly even death itself. In one version of the myth, the music does soften the hearts of Hades and Persephone, and Hades allows Orpheus to take Eurydice home. In another version, Orpheus uses his music to put Cerberus, a 3-headed dog and guardian of the underworld's gates, to sleep, allowing Eurydice to sneak past them and escape with Orpheus. However, in all the versions of the myth, there's one condition attached to Eurydice's return to the world of the living. Orpheus must walk in front of her and lead her out of the underworld without looking back to ensure she's behind him. If he were to look back before they both reached the upper world, Eurydice would remain trapped in the underworld forever. Eventually, they do make this trek together, and at the end, fearing that Hades had deceived him, Orpheus does indeed look back just before Eurydice can cross the threshold to the upper world, and Eurydice is pulled back to the underworld once more. Hadestown the Musical does a fantastic job of combining these 2 myths while also changing them to be relevant to the issues facing audiences today. Greek myths were told to teach a very specific lesson, and Hadestown is teaching the audience about the hubris of man. However, it is a story about the hubris of man in the face of capitalism and industry disrupting the natural cycles of the world. And all of this is done through the intertwining love stories. Also, Hermes is there both as a narrator and MC style figure and has probably my favorite costume in the entire production. He just looks fantastic. In the musical, Hades is this uptight, stoic captain of industry figure described through industry-related terms, and the underworld is his prospering but ultimately lifeless factory. The citizens of the underworld are laborers, stripped of individuality, who have just enough but are incapable of getting ahead or seeing their own individual qualities. Persephone is a very feisty and lively character in the musical. She has a lot of agency in the story, which I really enjoyed compared to the past myth, and I much enjoy the modern depictions we get today of her in media just in general. It's clear in this version that there was once love between Hades and Persephone, but something has happened and her heart can no longer reach his the way it once did. They're fighting. Hades has been demanding Persephone spend more and more time away from the mortal realm, the effects of which are causing drastic climate change. It's causing a climate crisis like what we're experiencing today. This analogy for industrialization and the effects it has on the natural world is directly influencing the problems faced by Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus and Eurydice have two distinct worldviews. Eurydice is a realist, pragmatic about the hardships of the world, whereas Orpheus is pure, bright optimism and dreaming. He has convinced himself and Eurydice that he can write a song so beautiful and perfect that it will fix all that's wrong with the world. And as he tries to write it, he fails to hear Eurydice calling out for help when times get hard. The song Wedding Song tells you exactly who these two are as Eurydice asks practical question after practical question, and Orpheus continuously responds with metaphor and poetry and dreaming. Eurydice is also given agency over her mythological roots. Instead of getting bitten by a viper, she makes a deal with Hades out of practicality and necessity to come to the underworld where she's going to be warm and fed, not realizing at the time how much of herself she will lose by just becoming another cog in the wheels of industry. In the musical, Orpheus does still come to Eurydice's rescue, but he doesn't just rescue her. His song also rescues the citizens of the underworld in a way and restores their ability to see each other as individuals, as creative works often do. Persephone is touched by Orpheus's rescue attempt and convinces Hades to give him a chance, which he does, and Orpheus sways Hades' heart and helps him to reconnect with the love he and Persephone once shared but had forgotten. However, he's only able to leave under the same stipulation as the prior tellings of this myth. After all, he did just breeze in out of nowhere into someone's factory and attempt to disrupt the status quo of the underworld. Actions have consequences. And again, at the end of the story, Orpheus's doubt creeps in and he fails at the last moment. Unlike the original myth meant to teach people they shouldn't defy the will of the gods, the musical examines and explains the economic reality of the world which governs our modern lives. There is no way in which Orpheus can create works so powerful as to create a world better than the ones the gods themselves are struggling to manage. Just as the average individual struggling to survive under capitalism and industrialization is powerless to stop the same wheels of industry. Despite being the son of a muse, Orpheus is still just a mortal man and bound by the limitations of a mortal's existence within the context of his world. In the final song of the show, We Raise Our Cups, led by Hermes, the show raises a glass to Orpheus and others like him who continue to create despite whatever impossible odds they may face in life. And despite its tragic ending, the musical still ends with hopefulness. As one who's been struggling to create with the gravity and uncertainty of the modern political climate, both in my country and globally, I think it was a reminder that I didn't realize that I needed, which is what I love about the theater experience as a whole. No matter how dark a day gets, theater reminds us to never give up hope. The staging of the production is quite simple for such a fantastical story. There are distinct location shifts, however, that do happen, but they're done mainly through the chorus's change in costuming and the lighting changes. A quick note also about the lighting in this show. During the song Wait For Me, which is the second to last song of Act 1, the lights do at times briefly flash towards the audience. I don't remember seeing a flashing light warning in the lobby, and I don't see one in my playbill. But I think that this is something to mention just in case you experience any type of photosensitivity. Personally, I don't like it when this is done in a theatrical production or like at a concert. It's really uncomfortable for my eyeballs. It attacks them just like the big light does in my office that I never turn on. Um, if I never saw another production flash stage lights at the audience, I'd be very happy. But overall, that's just something people should know. The cast is relatively small, which allows for a small band of musicians to be on the stage with the rest of the company. It reinforces the jazz club vibe of the set, with some of the actors also at times picking up instruments throughout the show, like the Fates and Orpheus. Speaking of the cast, I won't go through all 17 of the cast members in this one because this video is already getting long-winded for a show review, so I'll link the touring company website in the description for you to check out at your leisure. But everyone in this company was outstanding. Brian Minar as Orpheus, though, just mwah, chef's kiss, 15 out of 10. Especially wonderful. Orpheus is described in songs that open the show as being a person who's kind of naive about the realities of the world, just very wrapped up in their art. And Brian captured a sense of wonder and naivety within the character that was very believable without crossing into being childish, which I think in a role like this can be a difficult balance for some to walk. So, tip of the hat to that. Now, with all the explanation and praise, I do have criticism to bestow upon the production for something I felt took away from the experience. But before I say what that is, please keep in mind as I say this that it was night one of the show in Detroit, and often with an opening performance of a touring company, there can be some unforeseen technical issues, either due to the time in which the show arrived in town or just gremlins in the wiring unique to that specific location. For me, the only real issue I had with the show was the audio mix, specifically the mix where Orpheus's mic was involved. There were parts of the songs where he'd go into what sounded like falsetto or the higher register of his voice that were softer and much harder to hear in the show's mix being pumped out to the audience against the music backing him up. And but it didn't happen when he was, lower register or belting. So I don't know. I'm sure that's something that the sound engineer also noted, and it'll be fixed moving forward. But it really it kind of took me out and frustrated me a little bit. Normally, this isn't the kind of thing I would fuss over, but there is little to no spoken dialogue in Hadestown. And if there is, it's like a word or two sprinkled into the show, and it's sprinkled very lightly at that. All of the story is being told through song, so missing any of the song, you're missing out on context for either what's currently happening on stage in the plot or what's about to happen. I will say though, this is a format of musical theater that I personally like versus having characters burst into song mid-scene Disney princess style. Not only does it keep me from losing my engagement with the show, but it also means that when I listen to the album, I can hear the full story of the show without missing very much context. Unlike a show that like Wicked or The Sound of Music, which come to mind, you can still get the basics of what those musicals premises are without any of the talking bits, but there's still a great deal of context you miss out on if you never see them in person or watch the film adaptations. I don't think I have anything further to say about the 2025 national touring production of Hadestown. It's just 2 thumbs up. Go see it. If you like this video and you made it to the end, don't forget to leave a comment. Even if it's just an emoji, it helps this video get seen by others. I am, as a content creator, nothing more than a leaf blowing about in the merciless winds of the algorithm. Maybe I'll get lucky and someone will pick me up and turn me into a bookmark one day. I don't know. Until then, thank you as always for your support and for watching this video. Shout out to all my patrons who help keep this channel going. I couldn't do this without my little goblin community. If you want to join us and gain access to our private Discord and some ad-free videos and other behind-the-scenes content, tiers start at $3 a month over there. Link is in the description, and I will see you all in the next one.